So I think leading up into Troy, it was probably our most challenging and competitive week we've had in practice, because for a staff, we knew after the victory against Old Dominion that we didn't want to get complacent. I think it's very easy to have a win like that when you beat someone like ODU who hadn't lost in the year and feel as if you've kind of arrived and you expect an outcome in the next game. So we challenged the athletes a lot during the week. We put them in different situations. We made sure that practice was difficult this past week and a step up for being a road trip to Troy. And I think that really worked out really well. The athletes done a phenomenal job coming to practice each day last week, staying locked in, challenging themselves in their small groups and their individuals and their partners to make sure that they were being prepared for the game. And I think that started right from the word go. We had a free kick early on. Charlotte put the ball away, and that kind of settled us into the game because Troy started pretty hot. They came out, they pressed us, they had some energy. They were very vocal on the sideline. They knew what they were wanting to do. We were able to sustain that. And I think having a goal to start with settled us into it. And then after that, I think we found our groove and found our way. And it's, to be honest, it's probably one of our best games we've played. I think even from the chances we created on the conversion of what's on target versus off target, I think it was probably our most successful game. Never mind the 8 goals that went in, just the opportunities that we had on goal. The keeper made some good saves, but the opportunities that we had were very clean. They were good. They weren't coming from different areas of the field. They were exactly where we wanted them to be based on our scouting report and our game plan. So we're pretty happy with the outcome of the game, and to see the goals happen, it's a really nice reward for the athletes. So again, same challenge now, get locked in again, and now can we repeat it, getting ready for ULM, who haven't lost a conference game either on Wednesday.
Ever since the Southern Miss game, when you put 5 goals away, it kind of seemed like that there was very much a mentality shift within the team. What have you seen since that point? What are you guys doing better? I mean, you've only lost 1 game since that point in time, and it was against a very good JMU team, and you felt like you were right there with it, could have won it. What's kind of been the mentality shift at that point? Like, what are you guys doing better since that game?
I think the Southern Miss game was a kind of eye-opening one for us to see that, wow, we're capable of scoring 5 goals in a conference game. We're very fortunate that we'd done it last year in a non-conference game, but to do it this year in a conference game, regardless of the opponent and regardless of what's on the line, I think to do that is very eye-opening, and I think it gives a sense of awareness to the athletes to say, okay, we are capable of this. But I'd go back to our JMU game, and I'd say that defeat is really what, as of right now, has turned it around, because there's been years in the past where, as you had asked, that would have been a moral victory for us. But for us to walk off the field against JMU and feel as if it was a defeat because of the way we played, to go up against them 1-0, and, you know, we went up against Old Dominion, went up against Texas State, we went up against a lot of opponents 1-0 this year. So I think coming off of that JMU game, I think that, you know, the hours preceding that, I think it was very awakening for the team to realize that not only are we capable of doing it, but it should be an expectation that we should be doing it now. So I think kind of rolling into the ODU game, as much as they had some great chances and we'd done a little different kind of game planning off the ball than what we had done for the year, I certainly think that it kind of made them realize that what they're capable of and how to execute. So I think that's carried over, and we just need to keep making sure it carries over now into the last game of the year.
You talked a couple times about having opportunities but not being able to finish plays like that. Was Friday just a matter of being able to finish, or is it just things just fell right for you?
I think looking from, you know, watching the game in the moment and then watching it back on film, it certainly looked like, because of her pedigree, I think that a lot of focus was on Carson Glenn. And I think what that allowed then was to open up some other people. Miku, 3 goals and 2 assists on the day. Salma got 2 goals on the day as well. And I think that's been very beneficial for us this year. Carson Glenn is a phenomenal player, and she can hurt you in many, many ways. But if you put all your attention on her, we've also got other dangerous players that can hurt you. And I think that's what happened on Friday, is it opened up some opportunities for Miku and for Maya and for Reagan, for Salma. I think a lot of people got some opportunities to get on the ball and create some opportunities, and we capitalized on that. So it's really nice to see the team come together like that and be cohesive enough that we can execute on different moments. And Carson still got her goal and her assist on the day, right? But it certainly gave us a variety of attacks going forward.
You mentioned Miku having a hat trick on Friday. Kind of just talk about her development up to this point to get that performance in such a big Sun Belt match.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that you look for is that your freshmen coming in, they have preseason and non-conference to get ready for conference schedule. Obviously, Miku being an international, she missed several games at the start of the year before school started. So She took a little longer. I think she ended up getting thrown in at the deep end. I think one of her first games was Ole Miss on the road, right? And then she opened up at conference on the road to South Alabama. So it took her a while to get settled. But since that game at South Alabama, we've really seen her turn the corner, and her confidence on the ball, her vision, her creativity, and her ability to execute inside the box, outside the box, both footed. She's incredible, and she's done a really good job of being able to help us add to the attack this year.
What do you see from ULM? Obviously, they're at the top in the conference. It's going to be another great game. Are you looking at another great game in terms of like a measuring stick? Because obviously, 8 teams get into the tournament. They're all going to be pretty good. Like, you're not getting those slouches, no freebies, especially on this league. Is this sort of kind of like another test for you to see, all right, before we get into lose or go home situations?
Yeah, I think one of the things for the conference is the 8 teams that are going, because it's now solidified, all 8 teams are class. And I think that they all play some excellent soccer. I think they're all really, really close. There's been a lot of ties in our conference this year, and I think that shows the competitive level between each team. ULM are, to be honest, pretty similar to us. They have Skylar Blaze up top. That is very, very good. I think she leads the conference in goals right now. She plays very similar to Carson. So that's good and bad, because it shows you how dangerous she is, but it also it gives their defenders an opportunity to know what they're coming up against. They've got a couple of defenders that are very good at defending the box, similar to ours. They step in well. They can play some very direct balls that release Skylar in behind, and they've got some technical midfielders. So truthfully, it's a very similar matchup. They've had a different conference schedule than us this year, but they've executed a lot in their games. They just tied Georgia Southern as well. They beat App State by 1 goal. There's a lot of similarities between the two of us there. So I think coming into it, it's a good measuring stick for us, but it's a test. I think it's all going to be an execution to get ready for the conference tournament. And I'm sure at some point we'll see one of these teams that play in a very competitive way in the tournament. So it gives us a chance to get an edge up and figure out how we're going to game plan for the tournament. We might play ULM. We may play someone that they've played, and we can use that as a measuring stick as we scout film on some of the sides of the east side that we've not seen, Georgia State, Marshall, things like that. So it's definitely a test for sure.
How important is seeding and the opportunity to move up or down the slot here, given that tournament's so close?
Typically, it's really important, right? You want to make sure you try and get the evening game. You want to try and make sure you avoid maybe the 1 seed and you get into the 2. But truthfully, this year, it does not matter. All 8 teams that are going are really, really good. I think the 8 seeds that can, do it right now, ourselves, Georgia State, Marshall, all of those guys have had very competitive results against any one of the top 3 teams in this conference. So I think it's going to be a tough game on opening night regardless. And I think it's going to come down to the team's ability, the depth of the squad, the resilience and the relentlessness of the teams to play Monday. And if you're fortunate enough to win, then you have to play Wednesday, which is a shorter turnaround than we've had in conference. So I think it's really after that first game, it's going to be a test of, more the mental and physical side than anything else.
You mentioned you have played a lot of these teams that you're going to see or possibly could see at some point in the first round of the tournament. How much do you look at the games that you played this year, or how much of that do you scrap and say, okay, they might come at us with a completely different game plan than what we saw in the first time we saw them?
Yeah, I think you have to kind of scrap it, in my opinion, because you want to learn from what's happened, but you can't take it exclusively. There's been a lot of times this year where teams have changed and it's been game to game. I managed to go back and watch the Texas State and South Al game, and both teams played a different formation than what we played against them during the year. So I think teams are scouting, they're seeing strengths and weaknesses the same way they're executing. So all that we can do is then go in and take a player analysis and see where their strengths and weaknesses are, and make sure that we can scheme and game plan to try and expose them a little bit and stop their strengths for the next time that we play them, and learn our lessons from the first time, or figure out where we're successful the first time and replicate that.